Today, we're hitting the irradiated roads of the Olympic Exclusion Zone to talk about the fantastic new update for Pacific Drive, Endless Expeditions. But before we go any further, a huge shout out to B_Technician for requesting this update video for their friend. Let's jump right into the main headliner, Endless Expeditions. What exactly is the Endless Expeditions? Think of it as a new, repeatable game mode built into the main campaign structure of Pacific Drive. It's essentially the game's version of a dungeon crawler. Now, these Endless Expeditions are pretty easily accessible early on in the campaign, and if you've beaten the game or are starting a save that is already through the campaign for a bit, they may start at a higher difficulty. But let's go ahead and talk about how you access them. They're part of the regular junction board that you go to on side of your trips. However, there's a new tab that Francis will tell you about on how to access. Now, there is a bit of storyline with Francis here, but let's go ahead and put that to the wayside for a moment because I don't want to spoil anything. The way these expeditions work are they have difficulty levels, and every time you beat the expedition, the difficulty level goes up, and they compound. So level 1 has light radiation, and then level 2 has more, but the level 2 and level 1 restrictions compound together to kind of make a more challenging experience. So as you get further and further in the difficulty levels, the way harder it becomes, restricting items, tools, inventory, etc. The other cool thing about the expeditions is it gives you 3 choices, and the 3 choices do have eerie black nights, higher radiation, maybe the storm is a little bit more unstable, etc., etc. But they also give you rewards. And the rewards come in some cool items, some items that you may not have discovered yet, or even items that have a purple star next to them that call unrestricted is what the purple star means, and I believe you can take these into expeditions, seeing the restrictions that you have from the levels, which is really cool. Now, if you fail an expedition, you do lose a level in the expedition hardness, which is a welcome thing, because if you get all the way to level 9 and every time you're failing level 9, it would be sucked to get stuck at level 9, so it'll push you back down to level 8, and I really appreciate that. The other cool thing about the expeditions is Ida's workshop, or Ida's shop. This is also part of the storyline with Francis and what these expeditions mean and how it kind of affects it. But it's really cool. You're able to find them inside of the zone and trade with her in these expeditions and get some really cool items, trade for some stuff, and possibly even blueprints that you haven't ever seen before. The other cool thing about the expeditions are you're not 100% go in there, you have no other kind of lifelines. Every junction in the expedition has a little bit of a fuel station at the very beginning, and one of the junctions, if not multiple of the junctions in these expeditions, has kind of like a serenity zone where you can get repaired and everything else. Overall, these endless expeditions are a great way for people who are just playing the game and wanting to get resources to advance in the game and maybe beef up their car for further dives into the zone without having to mess up their junction map and having to reset it all the time. Alright, moving on to a more shorter but very much needed quality of life improvement in this update, suspended runs. Pacific Drive has always had a specific save system, auto-saving when entering a new junction or manually saving only in the garage. This update introduces a middle ground. Now you can choose to exit to save menu while out in a junction, and the game will create a special suspended save. When you load back in, you'll be exactly where you were. Same spawn in the junction, same items in the car, same state of the world around you. It's essentially a quick save, but it only saves upon exiting. This doesn't replace the existing save system. You can still manage manual saves in the garage and autosaves still happen. But this is a massive improvement for dealing with the real-life interruptions. Need to step away, phone ringing, someone else needs a PC or a console. You can now suspend your run without losing progress in the middle of a dangerous junction. A very welcome change. But wait, there's always more. For players starting fresh or wanting to replay, there's a new jumpstart option when creating a new save. This lets you bypass the initial tutorial sequence and get straight into the core gameplay loop faster. While some of us older gamers might have just kept a post-tutorial save file handy, having this built in is a fantastic convenience, especially for repeated playthroughs. More games should have this, honestly. Another thing that they've done is they tweaked the world generation slightly with clustered buildings. This means you'll more find buildings grouped together, looking more like believable road stops, small settlements, or supply depots, rather than just a single isolated structures randomly placed in the middle of nowhere. It makes exploration feel a little bit more organic and potentially more rewarding when you find a cluster. Single buildings still exist, but the variety is nice. And the updates don't stop there. The team packed in a bunch of other refinements, upgraded tools for the plasma scrapper and hand vac now have new upgrades, adding functionality, new music. Get ready for an additional hour of atmospheric tunes with 21 new tracks from new and returning artists. New cosmetics, 25 new garage cosmetics can be found exclusively during expeditions. Lore, new fax machine entries to discover, HUD options, more customization for your heads-up display for a cleaner, more immersive experience. Community cosmetics, new car paint shops featuring personalities from the launch streamer contest. Under the hood performance improvements to the game itself. UI and UX tweaks, enhanced analytics to help the devs plan future updates and keep making this game amazing. So there you have it, a deep dive into Pacific Drive's Endless Expeditions update. Whether you're a seasoned zone veteran or someone who's been waiting for a reason to jump in, this update adds significant value and replayability to an already amazing game. Personally, I've been loving the challenge of climbing the expedition difficulties. I even had a huge failure on one of them, taking me from level 8 back down to level 7. Here's how it went. I ran out of gas basically, classic mistake. I found a fuel truck, started siphoning, but have already activated the gateway extraction beacon. One of the difficulty modifiers makes the storm collapse way faster than usual, and I waited too long filling up and got caught in the absolute chaos of the final collapse phase. My car was torn to shreds. I technically made it back to the garage, kept my inventory, but the car was totaled and I lost that difficulty level. Lessons learned. But that's the fun of it, so I want to hear from you. If you've been playing the update, let me know in the comments. What's the highest expedition difficulty you've reached? What's the craziest challenge or restrictions you have encountered? Got any hilarious or disastrous failure stories like mine? Share your experiences down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, give the video a like. Consider subscribing for more survival game content and ring that notification bell. We are a survival game podcast and we air episodes every single week about survival games. Thank you very much for watching the State of Survival podcast on Pacific Drive's newest update, Endless Expeditions. Ta-ta for now.